Morning, good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show. It is Michelle Bryant here at WNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real. I just had to sigh for a second. Hey, what is this? Oh, not a fan. Let me see. I don't know.
Look at it.
I'm looking at the screen.
No, look at the camera. That was a great view.
Okay.
Granted, you can't see them at the same time.
So I can't see what other folks see.
Right.
Anyway. All right. Welcome to the show this morning. A lot to cover. Got the Office of Equity coming in at 8 o'clock. Let me say good morning to Mr. Ride Out. What's going on, Jack?
Well, you know, Shell.
Nope, I don't. That's why I said it's on.
Well, this is why I guess I got to tell you what's going on.
Well, come on.
Well, you know, today is Hump Day Question Wednesday.
I ain't got something you was gonna forget. I thought you was gonna forget.
Why?
Can I say this real quick before you ask your question?
Sure.
I want to pan over just a little bit so that folks can see you all bundled up with the fan going.
Hey, man.
Now, what is wrong with this picture?
Well, you know, you got to be balanced. You know, you need.
That's not a balance.
And for my family in New York that pointed out the foolishness of Jermaine Rideout.
Listen.
Yes.
Call me.
Somebody want to know is my mic on?
I hear.
We hear it.
We hear it. Judge Taylor, they said your equipment is janky. Issue.
Yeah. Fix your ears, Judge.
Oh, she might not have heard my insult. All right, my mic. She'll hear my mic. Dion said yes, it's on.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Jermaine.
Someone asked.
We got a fan.
Yes.
And a full ensemble.
Eskimo Joe.
So what did you say, Debo? What's wrong with this picture?
Something doesn't quite go.
I mean, but there's a lot of people. But they usually do it at home when they sleep. They be bundled up, but then they have a fan on. Oh, and now he got binoculars. So he can see across the street to see what's going on. And we just want to thank Debo for this foolishness. I'm like, where did he even find some binoculars from? But what prompted the binoculars?
Well, yesterday, as we were sitting in this here studio.
All right.
With the fan on, by the way. There was a young lady across the street at the car gas station that was partially naked.
Topless. Again.
Topless.
What's up with that lady, man?
That was climbing up the
Climbing
up the side of the building.
No, y'all.
And got to the top, it was hanging. She
got to the top of the building?
She got to the top of the
Are you serious?
She was at the top. And Beagle yelled across the street, "Get out!" Okay. I know, funny. But yeah, she was. If she would have kept going,
she was topless in this weather.
Yeah,
it was freezing yesterday.
Yeah, shivering timbers. Yeah.
So what happened when she got back?
She put her shirt back on.
So she had the shirt.
Yeah, she had the shirt in her hand. Yeah. So that means it's going to be a crazy summer.
Somebody said mental illness is real.
It's going to be a crazy summer.
Because then, you ask the question like, well, okay, did anybody call anybody? But by the time you call somebody, they're not even in the area. It's crazy. I'm sorry, say what now?
We tried to call Tyrone, he wasn't available.
See how y'all play too much? Yeah. see. Oh, y'all go ahead.
Well, listen, I got to get this out.
Okay, what?
The question of the day, Shells, I got to ask you this because I know you have this coming in. Now, we all was babies at one point
What's
in
the
time.
beeping? What happened?
I don't know about it. Power just died. I need to plug that.
I can't work under these conditions. I get tired of y'all. I cannot. I got binoculars over here. He already crazy. Now we be looking at him with these big things up against his face. You over here beeping. Okay. These are so awful conditions. Go ahead.
We was all babies at one point in time. And if it's true that babies kick when they're in the belly of the mothers, right?
In the womb, yes.
Is it true that we all have kicked our mother? shouldn't we go back and apologize to our mother? That's just the question I was wondering.
It's not a question. It's not a question.
Right. That's the right sound effect for that one.
You know. Hey, Debo.
Good morning, Michelle. How are you?
Man, I was okay till I got up in the building. How you doing today, fam?
I am good. I'm blessed and highly favored. Just ready to hear another fabulous show that I know you have prepared for us today.
Is that right?
So yeah, I have nothing more to say.
Sounds like a lot of pressure, but all right now, all right. Jermaine, I swear to God, you and these binoculars. Dude, we'll put the camera on Jermaine. Just look.
My.
Looking across the street.
With the fan going.
My.
This whole thing seems
It's going to be a long
this
day.
thing seems so special up in here. People are going to be like, who is running?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody said the sound is really bad, echoing in a tunnel.
It should have cleared up now.
All right. Thank you, fam. We're going to see. Y'all let me know. Because these are good excuses to get some people terminated. Not saying that I would be encouraging such measures. But let me know if the sound improves, please. All right, let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Debo.
Good morning.
Right out. What kind of statements you made? Did you kick your mother? Are you serious?
Listen, when we in the belly of the womb.
That don't make no sense. I'm sure.
Never have to.
Have a good day.
That don't make no sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm like, I don't even know why he called about it. He knew it was.
Yeah,
I almost said
making
something.
sense is not a part of the criteria.
No, he knew it was. Come on now. Dion says she don't know what's going on with all y'all other stuff. She hears us loud and clear. Hey, Debo, somebody had a question about the platform to be able to get the show.
Civic Media. Just go to your Play Store or Google.
Go to like your App Store or whatever.
Just go to your App Store, download it, and then type in WNOV and save it as a favorite, and you'll be able to.
So wait, you're going a little fast. So first, okay, people said fixed. So you said they need to go to the App Store, download the Civic Media app.
Correct.
And then you can find it. And Civic Media owns a number of radio stations. So you type in WNOV.
Correct. And
then you'll find us and you can listen from there.
Absolutely.
All right. I need to make sure I get that out because a number of people hit me about that.
I will admit the very first time I visited the app, NOV was not in the list. So that's why I'm suggesting that you type it in, then it'll populate and you'll be able to save it as a favorite. I think it's called My Station, and you just save it there. And when you go back, it'll always be there.
All right. Thank you.
That is also what feeds our website as well. So when you go there, you do have to push play. That's a little different than it was. So a lot of things have changed. I'm glad you brought it up. So yeah, even with the website, you need to go in, click listen live, and then push play, because before it would just start playing. It
right, if you hit listen live.
Right.
Okay. Judge Taylor said it's better. It was bad on YouTube. Okay. All right. We got another caller. Let's get them in real quick. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle.
What's happening, Angela? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
No complaints. Well, just two.
I understand. Don't even have to go there because I know what you're talking about. But, thanking God that he woke me up this morning and let me see another day, having the use of all my limbs and everything else. But anyway, Michelle, yesterday when Ride Out was singing his little song, and you said if somebody called me and sing it or whatever, they'll get a prize. What will be the prize? So I'm wondering, did anyone call in?
Well, see, no, because I haven't set it up yet, but I'm going to set it up. And I'm gonna make the prize a good prize. Like, it's not gonna be a janky prize. I'm gonna make it a good prize.
I'm sure it's not with you. I'm sure it's not.
Unlike these other bohos, I have good taste.
Right, and I told Ride Out this morning. I said, Ride Out. I said, what's happening? I'm waiting on the laugh. It's Wednesday. What was with the question, dude?
Well,
I can't even laugh.
Well, listen.
Horrible.
I was already ready, man. My stomach was ready just to bust up a gut, and I can't even Man, you done messed up my Wednesday,
Well,
dude.
listen,
He
listen.
didn't do no show prep for that one.
No, Angela, listen. Sometimes questions that you have to ask, they hit you differently.
Right,
And
I
this was one of
understand
those
that.
questions that I thought about, like, wait a minute. Now, I kicked my mama, and I shouldn't have done that.
You know
Well,
what?
then go ahead and apologize to your
I
mama.
did. I
then.
called her yesterday and told her,
Okay, all
I'm
right
sorry
then.
for
So
40
you
for
good?
49 years ago when I kicked you. She forgave me, though.
Okay, well then you good. You good. God forgave you. Your mama forgave you, and I forgive you.
That's it. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Angela.
Good morning,
Oh,
Debo.
my bad. I'm sorry.
Oh, good morning, Angela. Did you kick your mama too?
See,
Everybody did.
could y'all stop? Could
We
y'all
all
Of
please
kicked
course
our
stop?
I
mamas.
did, but
Could y'all please stop?
my mom is no longer here, but she know she done forgave me for everything I done did wrong to her.
Oh, okay.
And I'm good
Where
as
y'all
far
keep
as that goes. So,
Why
but
y'all keep it
anyway, is Clark Kent in the
He is not in the building.
No,
Okay,
he's not a
all
part
right.
of this
Who you
foolishness.
you fool. But listen, you all have a blessed day, and I will holler at you tomorrow.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thank you, Angela. Appreciate the call. All right, y'all. So let me get to a number of things as we get ready for the morning. A couple of things want to make sure we get out. Let's see. Oh, we got one more caller. Let me get them in. Hey, caller, what's happening?
I'm just calling to say good morning and leave Judge Taylor alone. You know I love you, Michelle, but leave her alone.
Oh, ain't that nothing? All right, so Lise, we gonna
Nah.
leave Judge Taylor alone.
All right.
All right, take care, sis. All right, family. You know, y'all, everybody got their favorites. Everybody got their favorites. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, so a number of things. Number one, the number of people that hit me up that was appalled by the story that broke in Washington County here in Wisconsin, that they were considering naming a portion of the state truncated highway after Charlie Kirk. It has generated a great degree of buzz. It's my phone started like getting tagged on this yesterday early in the afternoon. People were like, can this be vetoed? Is this legal? Lena, didn't nobody say nothing about you? Have you heard my phone picking? What y'all say about me? Didn't nobody say nothing about you? But a number of people, just outraged that this is even like a conversation or a thing. But a number of media outlets reported yesterday that Washington County, so I think so, Lee. See, people silly. That they were considering a resolution to name a portion of a county road, Charlie Kirk Way, an agenda item that's happening today on the executive committee meeting list the discussion of this resolution. Excuse me, authorizing the name overlay to a portion of County K. This signage would cost $50,000. Now I don't know what what everything is doing in Washington County. I don't know if they have any residents in need of aid, health care, a startup loan for business. If schools could use some additional resources. I don't know what is the financial health of Washington County, and they may be doing very well, but y'all got $50,000 to spend on a sign for somebody who's not from Wisconsin, who was a whole behind racist. And we're going to put a sign up in honor of Charlie Kirk. Okay. All right. The installation would affect County K from County R to State 144 for folks. I know it's a lot of truck drivers and folks that move around that know these areas. Run through the towns of Addison, Hartford, Polk, and West Bend. A number of us do go to West Bend. The committee must vote on whether that money can be taken from the county's general fund, since the project wasn't included in the 2026 budget. And it has to pass with 3/4 of the committee members to approve the resolution. And they want to honor the life and work of Charlie Kirk, which contributed to a broader national dialogue about the importance of protecting freedom of speech, racist speech, defending constitutional rights, the rights of white people, and preserving the values that have long defined the American experiment. And so we go on to talk about what happened, unfortunately, Charlie Kirk in the article, but this is on tap. So we will see. We will see what the decision is in Washington County. But how you spend $50,000 in this particular climate, but in any case, 50 grand to I mean, people just silly, man. Like, figure out a way to elevate your beliefs and your values that don't involve everybody else, because that's taxpayer money. And I want to be clear, while it's Washington County, because of the money that Milwaukee pays into the state budget, pays to the state, our money gets filtered all over the state. We already talk about, we put in $1, we get back like, I don't know, 40 cents on that dollar. I forgot what that number is in terms of what we get back, because we help to subsidize other counties around this state. So this isn't just Washington County's money. This is money that has gone through the general fund in the state of Wisconsin that gets filtered back down to these counties. And if we don't pay for it directly, we pay for it indirectly. I just don't, it's just amazing to me. It is amazing to me that people, the stuff that people get behind and want to do. So everybody, I heard you on that. I think that it is interesting. Again, I just know that there's probably a better way to spend $50,000 than to put name changes for someone who, was so controversial in terms, and you can be controversial in a way that's not completely and totally offensive. It was offensive on so many levels. I'm not going to be able to convince the supporters of Charlie Kirk of anything otherwise. But I'm just saying, if y'all want to put that up with y'all own money. Fundraise, do your private GoFundMe, and then come back and see, people about getting that erected. Don't use taxpayer money for that. So that was one thing that stood out right away. That was crazy. Another thing that stood out when we talk about, okay, wait. Nah, let's do it. So questions. Milwaukee, where's the story? Milwaukee Public Schools, former budget director, has been hired by the county to, I think, be the budget director at the county. Hang on one second. Because I lost what I was getting ready to say. I lost my story. Because I wanted to be local for just a moment. Milwaukee County hires budget director. Okay. So Joe Lamers is the director of the newly created Office of Strategy, Budget, and Performance. Is this the right story? Let me make sure I got the right one. Here we go. So this is what made me pay attention to it. And I had the wrong person, not Joe. That was the old story. So this Facebook post is what caught me. Milwaukee County Executive David Crawley has named Nick Sinram, former MPS budget leader, to head the county's budget office. And so now there's the story that I was looking for. So there was a lot of chit chat on social media that the county executive has appointed Nick Sinram to be the interim head of the county budget office. Sinram previously led the budget department for MPS, which recently faced a multi-million-dollar deficit. The new role involves overseeing the county's $1.4 billion annual budget and addressing its fiscal challenges. In order for his appointment to be permanent, it will require confirmation of the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors. And so and he replaced Joe Lamers. I knew Joe Lamers' name was supposed to be in there somewhere. So he replaces Joe Lamers after he left to lead the county transit system, because they also, financial issues going on. So for the past 3 years, Sinram led the Department of Financial Planning and Budget Services at MPS. He told the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel he had resigned from MPS to accept the work as the interim director for the county's budget office. His last day with MPS is on the 20th. And he has been overseeing budget development at MPS, the district's finance office, since they ran into trouble on multiple fronts. So we know that there was this $46 million that MPS has now told 230 some odd employees, and of which they said some of those positions did not have people currently in them, but others, assistant principals, possibly being sent back to the classroom, dean of students roles being eliminated. Those people, if you want to stay in the district, possibly going back into the classroom, like people literally who had worked to get to a certain, level, position, now being sent back into classrooms where many of them started their educational careers. People, hey, are you retiring? We need to know now, or otherwise we giving you this letter telling you what we getting ready to do with you in relationship to your employment with the office. So right here, I'm seeing somebody say Office of Strategic Planning and Development. Now, so let me just say what I see in the paper in terms of the position. So Office of Strategic Planning and Development. So is that the budget office, the way that it's being described in the newspaper? I guess is the question for the person that sent me that specific title name. The director so it says the director of the office oversees the planning and development of the county's $1.4 billion annual budget, including improving budget spending and developing grant opportunities. So Lamers, they said, who led the county through multiple deficit blows, finding ways to plug budget gaps for the county's transit agency, overspending at the sheriff's office, fiscal struggles with the Parks Department, and the federal pandemic. So for the past 3 years, again, talking about Sinram, I'm just trying to figure out exactly when he was at MPS, or still there until Friday. The finance office had repeatedly run behind on finance reporting deadlines, which raised red flags by the state. According to the article, we all knew that. Since then, MPS has been bound by a state-enforced corrective action plan. We know that. Of his work at MPS, Sinram said, "I'm very proud of my time serving our students and families, and I look forward to this new and exciting professional opportunity." Crawley said in a statement announcing the selection that Sinram is, quote, well suited to continue this track record, bringing new experience to this role. What is the track record? That's what I need to understand. What's the track record? So if he's coming from a finance department with the district that was struggling, that reports were late, we $46 million in the hole, even after going to referendum to get additional aid and assistance. What exactly was Sinram's, and I apologize if I'm saying his name incorrectly, but what was his role in any of that? Are his hands clean in what appears to be some of either the mismanagement, the lack of timely reporting? I know they said some of their systems were outdated, but hey, what's his role, y'all? I think that this is and it's amazing to me how people can land coming out of a mess and go right into another, position, and help me understand. It would be great to find out what was his role in the situation at MPS. And I'm sure the county executive knows. Can you share that with us? So if you tell me, Michelle, Sinram was low on the totem pole. He wasn't a decision maker. He didn't have nothing to do with none of that. He's actually a rock star. I would love to see. I would love to see the information to support that. I'm just trying to figure out how people come from troubled divisions, departments, organizations, and get jobs. And I don't know what your performance was at the other place. And I think that when you are talking about public facing positions, that it is a good idea to make sure that the community not only understands, you know, that you hired this person, but why you hired them. And I'm not interested in former assistant city attorney, which is what he was. He was the main legal counsel for MPS to negotiate contracts and other, things that he did. And he handled annual departmental budgets. Just make sure you say in your hiring notification, he didn't have nothing to do with the drama at MPS. I think that ought to be said. I think that that's important. I think that for everyday lay taxpayers who don't know the ins and outs when these hiring decisions get made, at the very least, it can simply be said that this gentleman does not have any direct responsibility or culpability for what happened with the district's finances. That needs to be said. Because otherwise, I'm looking at you sideways when you hire somebody connected to a department who had money being withheld from DPI because of untimely reports. We running deficits. We got a bunch of problems. So just a simple A. I understand the concerns, but in the role that he played with MPS, he was not a part of that. He was not. I think that's a fair thing to say. So we will keep our eyes out, posted up on this decision. But right now, it's a little off to me that we bring people from an underperforming department to run, something similar at the county. That's just me. That's me. But it just seems a little off-putting. An explanation, I think, is owed to taxpayers, because we want to make sure that we hiring the best people with taxpayer money. And I'm not saying that this man is not qualified, but that's the point. I don't know. I don't know what your role was at MPS in the mess that we have over there, particularly when you've been there not 1 year, not 2 years, but at least 3 years. I want to understand. So you've been there a little while to see some of the foolishness that's going on. I just want to feel good about the fact that we taking somebody out of MPS's troubled department and putting them in a county department. And we know, or, assume that this individual did not play any role with what went on at MPS. I would just feel so much better in relationship to this, because it's not a good look for me right now without an explanation. It's not a good look, and explanations are required. Just like when the mayor hired Parcell and talking about trust me, hell no. The explanations are required. We have too many issues, too many deficits, too many problems, and we just need to make sure that what we're doing is cool and above board, that none of this looks like political favors and helping people out. We don't have no time for that. As the district is getting ready to let go or move around, demote, whatever you want to call it, hundreds of employees at MPS because of financial problems, I need to understand this. Let me take a break and I'll be right back. Calls if you can't hold through the break with me. Be right back. I'm stuck. 860. We'll be back. I can't even remember it all. All right, family, welcome back to the show. It's rough up in this spot this morning, I tell you. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, doctor.
What's going on, doctor? How you doing this morning?
Not as well as you sight unseen.
My man.
You onto some real good stuff. I worked in MPS for over 50 years. And I know they don't know how to spend their money. And I have offered, and probably on the radio, to pro bono help them out. And I want you to be as my assistant, and you should get paid. All we need to do is somebody that can see, go down to the central office and the county. Because I had an incident, they had sent my money to the state, and that was an inter-office problem. They sent my money to the state because they didn't know where to send it. And I don't have it yet, unclaimed property. And when I went down there to handle it, I had to go to 2 or 3 different offices when it should have been handled in one office. Whoever's handling the money should be in cahoot, should be aware of what's happening in the other office. And I've said this before. When I first started with MPS, I told them I wanted to be an administrator. And they never let me become an administrator. Then they had a section when you had to take a test to be an administrator. Only 2 people passed that test, 2 people of color. Mosley, who was the principal at King, I passed the objective test, but I got a 48 on the interview. And they had 5 people on the panel for the interview. All 5 of them had to be in collusion for me to get a 48. And they set it up. They had 4 black people and 1 white person on my panel. Balustrade, who later became the principal at King, was on my panel. And I made it my business to confront all of them. I called Balustrade in front of the central office on the street. And I told him about it. I told him I made a promise to myself they will not be putting me in that box before I talk to you. So he tried to run. He ran into the office, and then he was in the office, in the building rather, and he was in the middle of some people, and I got in front of him, and I told him, you flunked me, and I want to know why. And he said, and he didn't want to answer that, but I know why you did. They told you to flunk me. And all the other.
Well, Dr. Ward, I'm about to flunk you right now because I'm against the clock. So, can I get you to finish out your thought for me?
I'm gonna stop right now because I don't want to be like your best friend. Because takes you in the circles.
Yes, sir. I understand.
Down many rabbit holes, and you have a good one.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. All right. Look, y'all. One of the things that I pulled up in the article that was done, there was a question. It looks like the reporter, put to the Crawley administration about the concerns I'm raising with this person coming from MPS going to the county. And the spokesperson for the county exec, he said that, quote, Sinram's experience uniquely positions him to manage large municipal budgets and navigate complex fiscal environments. He had been heavily involved in addressing past practices that led to the MPS crisis, as well as implementing the corrective action plan to fix them. So that's the blurb. I think that's supposed to put people at ease about moving this gentleman from MPS over to the county. It does not put me at ease. Could you be more specific? How did that happen? And I think that level of transparency should be required given our fiscal situation in the county is precarious. At any day or any time, I shouldn't say any day, frequently we always hear, we're not out of the woods, we're not out of the woods, we're not out of the woods. Give examples. And see, that's the thing. To me, people don't think that they have to do a lot of explaining to the public when they're making decisions with public dollars. And it is a great idea to say, look, and to hear it directly from the county executive. Look, I know folks will be concerned about a particular hire, but let me tell you why this makes sense. When X, Y, and Z is happening, these are some of the things that are put in place to address that. We are not the most sophisticated in terms of understanding budgets, but we do understand explanations that are at least offered up to help people digest some of the stuff that we're hearing. So I'm going to leave that lay. It's a couple other quick things I want to get in, ironically, before the county comes in, the Office of Equity. But if you are planning a trip, a number of people, spring break is happening in a week or so. I know we have the Historically Black College tour coming up at the end of the month, going into April. We have already been behind the scenes. When I say we, Dr. Myers and I, trying to figure out these airport strategies, because our kids, we fly out and then get to our destination, and we do ground travel as we go from college to college, and then we fly back, from a different city, wherever our tour ends up. We were scheduled to fly back to Milwaukee from Atlanta. But because this TSA situation seems like it may not be corrected even by as late as April 3rd or 4th, we began to look for smaller airports to fly out of. So even if we make a connecting flight to Atlanta, we're already in the airport. We don't have to go through TSA pre-check. We're simply getting off a plane and then, catching a connector flight back into Milwaukee. So, we felt pretty good about the fact that, okay, we think we got this figured out. We can do smaller airport, and then, we'll get into Atlanta, but we don't go through TSA. We just get our connecting flight. Because of everything that's going on with TSA, the government is now contemplating shutting down smaller airports. So whether you talk about a smaller airport like in Madison, you talk about one of the smaller airports that we're looking at, flying out of, like in Huntsville, Alabama, that this situation is impacting everybody. I was watching, interviews yesterday where TSA workers and their representatives were saying that they have gone 31 days without a full paycheck. 31 days. We were being told, this past Friday was the first time TSA workers didn't get a full check. I'm listening to some of these people and they're like, it's been 31 days. And people have already taken on second jobs. All of the things that have to be paid don't stop because the government is in shutdown mode in relationship to this dispute that is happening about the Department of Homeland Security. And I love how it's being spent on media outlets and by conservatives when they say that the Democrats are holding up, the budget on TSA and all these approvals because of Homeland Security. Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats have said, we're willing to take a vote that does not include the Department of Homeland Security. Make it a standalone vote. Make it a standalone decision. So we could easily let everything else get back up and functioning and have the battle over Department of Homeland Security because of the demands that Democrats are saying they want to see happen with that department. That you don't just get to use any kind of warrant and go up into somebody's house. That it's a judicial warrant. That you don't get to wear masks when you are engaging the public. You're not undercover. You're not hiding. So why do you have a mask on? that the oversight has to be better. You know, they have things that they've said needs to be put in place. And I don't know why anybody would argue with them, because none of the things that they're asking is unreasonable. But we could fix the TSA issue if conservatives would agree to pull DHS out of the Department of Homeland Security, pull it out of the discussion and make it a single standalone debate. But they won't do that. So when we're talking about why we're in the situation that we are in, we got to be willing to be honest and say the whole piece, the whole part of it. But this partial government shutdown has forced 50,000 TSA airport security officers to work without pay for the last month. At first, 10% of them didn't show up for work. That was across TSA, period. In Atlanta, where we're talking about, we're flying out of on April 3rd, 30% of TSA workers have not been showing up. And they've been going through all of the big markets and looking at numbers, 20% here, 25% there, not showing up for work. This number will only get higher. We have a real issue on our hands. So there are people saying, the airlines are now saying, hey, you know, we need these people to be paid. And I'm like looking at the airlines like, well, y'all got money? Because y'all killing us on baggage fees. Y'all killing us on baggage fees. We know y'all got bread. Why don't y'all help them out? You know, since they taking up food donations, canned goods and carrying on for TSA workers to be able to eat. And since I mentioned the airlines, let me somebody said they were responding to a legislator who said, well, maybe the TSA agents can borrow money from family and friends until they get paid. And this one guy said, when you get a partial paycheck, when you expect $2,000 and you get $500, and then you expect $2,000 again and you get $0, you're $3,500 in the hole. I don't have nobody I can call. And this is just exactly how they said. I don't have anybody I can call and ask for $3,500. I do not. In this current situation, while Donald Trump and JD Vance is walking around with these silly signs behind them talking about bigger paychecks, you got regular everyday Americans going, where they at? Because I'm not seeing them. It's not translating to my pocketbook. So we have people that are in trouble in this country. And we got folks sitting on the sidelines who are acting like there's nothing that they can do. But see, the problem is that the Democrats conceded the last time when they was having the health care subsidy debate. And people broke ranks and they broke the stalemate. You're not going to get the Democrats to keep, breaking. And that's what Republicans count on. Somebody said that CBS is reporting that TSA workers are donating blood plasma for gas money. Yeah, we've seen that. I've seen those stories. People literally, in a lot of cases, live check to check in this country. And so, but I can hear people like, well, the Democrats just need to get on board. No, have that conversation for both parties. Have it for both parties. But again, since I mentioned the airports or the airlines, let me just mention this real quick. Everything that's going on in Iran, I talked about we go on and we're going to be flying. Our tickets were already bought. If you are looking at airline purchases, flight purchases, you're talking about upwards to a 20% increase in these tickets. Remember how we started paying baggage fees? Because remember, most of the time your bags was free when you flew. And we hit a peak when gas prices were extremely high. And the airline said, we need to charge luggage fees to help offset the gas prices. So then gas prices go back down to a reasonable amount of money. In some cases, record lows. Does the airline ever stop charging us? No, they don't. Now they pocket in all that money from baggage fees. We are seeing 20% of the world's oil hung up in the Strait of Hormuz. Airlines are beginning to raise the flag for everybody. These fees about to go up again. I went and got gas. The national average, they say, has gone up by 88 cents a gallon in the last month. I could tell the difference. I paid $1 more for gas yesterday when I filled up than I had paid a month ago. Because I can use regular unleaded. I paid $2.59. Yesterday I paid $3.59. This is real. And what'd you say?
I said it's almost like $5 for 97.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, so people that's getting ready to take vacations, people that have trips planned, I got to go to break, but I need y'all to seriously think about where y'all flying in and out of, because there are people, they were bringing out cots in one airport because people, 900 cancellations across the board. And even if you get stuff up and running, you still got to deal with all these people who've had flight cancellations. I need y'all to be honestly thinking about what y'all doing before y'all make these decisions on unnecessary trips. If it's it's a business trip, I understand that. Even then, where are you flying in and out of? We have got to be thinking about this stuff because these people going to get hemmed up. And everybody don't have the pocket money to sustain getting caught up in this airport foolishness. Let me take a break. I'll be right back, y'all. All right, family, welcome back to the show. So, as I indicated, we have our guest in from the Milwaukee County Office of Equity. We are so fortunate to have an on. Well, we may not after my conversation earlier, but we are so fortunate to have on. Y'all know I can't resist. An ongoing relationship with the county, getting information that a lot of us might not always understand. It's great to have people to be able to come in and help us appreciate the work that's being done, explain the programming and the opportunities and options that exist for Milwaukee County residents. Today is no different. Many of us have been alarmed as we have seen grocery stores close in the community. We are hearing terms that, we didn't always hear or use. I mean, food insecurity became the big buzz for a period of time. And then we began to hear terms like food apartheid. Now, I'm a kid that was at college that was fighting apartheid in South Africa when we talked about what was going on over there in terms of human rights, civil rights, basic freedoms. And so for me, as I wrestled and reconciled that, we have this new terminology to describe something that's happening with Americans and individuals' access to food, it was crazy for me. So this conversation is extremely welcome and timely. And I want to welcome into the studio, first of all, Samaya Clark.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you this morning?
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you. And Samaya, remind people what your role is with the office.
Absolutely. So I'm the Chief Equity Officer of Milwaukee County and the Executive Director of the Office of Equity.
Perfect. And then we have none other Dapper Dan sitting in the field.
Dapper Dan.
Dapper Dan, Mr. David Mohammed. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Glad
Remind
to be
folks of the title,
back. Sure.
fam.
Deputy Director, Department of Health and Human Services for Milwaukee County.
And head of fashion extraordinaire.
No.
And we have a new player at the table this morning. I think the first time I've ever had the opportunity to engage is it Celia?
That's right.
Celia
Yep.
Benton?
I'm Celia Benton, and I'm so thrilled to be here. I'm the Director of Economic Development and Real Estate Services at Milwaukee County.
Okay, that's a hefty title. Celia, pull that mic in for you. So
It's
you have
heavy.
Yeah, it is. I just want you to be comfortable. All right, so Samaya,
Yes.
I kind of set this up a little bit.
Yeah.
But for somebody who has that 30,000 foot view, the things that I'm describing, how is this on the county's radar? And maybe flesh this out a little bit more for listeners in terms of the subject we're going to have this morning or topic.
Absolutely. So all of us have probably felt, increased expenses when it comes to, eggs or food or, just making sure that we have what we need to feed our families. And we know that there's a whole lot of people in Milwaukee County, as you said, who are food insecure. So when you think about SNAP benefits, about 250,000 people in Milwaukee County right now depend on SNAP benefits, right? So we want to make sure that we have access to food that is healthy. And as you talked about food insecure, there are certain areas around the city where more than 40% of the folks who live there say that they're actually food insecure, meaning that they have to maybe stress or be concerned about where their next meal is going to come from.
So, I mean, is that folks don't have enough money to make it to the end of the month? Is that I've got to go further to find, quality food, or help people kind of put those two things together? What does that mean to be food insecure?
Yeah, so all of the above. And what we're looking at too is like where there are concentrations of that in Milwaukee County. So for example, we know that there are certain neighborhoods like Metcalf Park, for example, where a large majority of the folks don't have enough to last them, forget about the end of the month, like to the next week even. And so they're dependent on, food pantries and discounted food markets and all of that. And when we've looked at the term food apartheid, as you mentioned, food apartheid is an interesting change from the previous term of food desert, because food desert just means there's just not enough healthy food options here. But food apartheid forces us to actually look at the cause. And the cause, when you look at like historically in a place like Milwaukee, where you've had hyper segregation and things like redlining and lack of investment in communities, there are structural things that are contributing to people not having the food that they need. And that's why we talk about food apartheid as opposed to just food deserts or, looking at individual food insecurity.
So this gets on the county's radar to the point that we see a resolution be introduced. David, can you speak to the resolution aspect?
Sure. So the resolution was advanced by Chairwoman Marcelia Nicholson based on her work with Metcalf Park, Community Bridges, and the work that they've done really inspired by the need after Pick and Save closed on 35th and North. And while a lot of people in the community might talk about it, well, there was a lot of shoplifting there or this and that was happening. But 11 grocery stores and pharmacies don't close at the same time because of theft.
11? Because I knew it was one of those things where we kept saying the hits keep coming. Every day somebody's like, did you see? Did you hear? 11?
This is economic forecasting by these companies. They see cuts to SNAP, they see cuts to Medicaid, and they know that they bank off of poor people. And when those things are endangered, they make business decisions and start looking for the exit. And that's what we're experiencing here. So the resolution talks about the structural factors that lead to these things, what government's responsibility is to the taxpayers, to the residents of the county, and to the absolute need of hunger. As Samaya talked about, if you got 250,000 people depending on these benefits, we're in the dairy state, all right? We're in an agriculture state. We have urban ag, we have other realities here. And really, Wisconsin's at a crossroads, whether they want to be AI farms or feed people. And so this can be an economic. Does that need
to be a show? AI farms?
It's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother real estate conversation too. But ultimately, can we make a statement of economic commitment to address the health and the economic development needs of Milwaukee and Wisconsin by addressing this issue? And I think that's where the resolution starts the political conversation.
So let me just back up for one quick second, because when David, said, specifically identify SNAP, I literally had somebody hit me on Messenger and be like, Michelle, I hate to sound naive, but is SNAP simply like what we used to consider food stamps? So for just a second, can you kind of flesh out for people, because we hear the term, but if you're not somebody who utilizes certain systems, you may not always appreciate what we're talking about. Sure. And I'm not sure who would like to tackle that, but it would be helpful.
I can tee it up, but we can tag team this. Yeah. I mean, if you're thinking about veterans, older adults, single parents, you have lower income families. Those are the people who are most impacted by this. So it is the Quest card. It is food stamps. Okay. It is those types of needs. But when you also compare that with the rising cost of food and the quality of food that people have access to, it becomes a bigger thing. And for Milwaukee County over the last several years, even before the resolution, we've been attempting to address this. We've put over about $1 million in this. We had the Market Match Project, which matched SNAP dollars at food at farmers markets so that residents could buy fresh local produce as well as other products that are qualified to feed their families, Fondy Food Market, other places, because we tried to do our best to promote this kind of way to address both the economic crisis and the health crisis. And we saw a utilization increase of about 120% of those types of benefits. So there's a health component to this as well. We cannot become the healthiest county if we're not addressing the quality of food, the nutrition that is needed in our community, the economic condition of our community, and the real need to kind of look at what's happening federally and act regionally and locally to resolve these issues.
Yeah. So then I see that the county basically, it looks like, declares this a public health emergency.
That's correct.
It is.
And so then I'm assuming when you start talking about, now we got to look at other impacts, other determinants, if you will, of how we get here, and the partners who can help us get to solutions. Is that when you come into this conversation, Selena?
Well, yeah, let me just talk a little bit about what economic development is and how that is an important factor when we talk about food apartheid. So when we talk about economic development, really we're talking about a way to improve quality of life through strategic investments that build businesses in a community, that create jobs, that improve salaries for people, that sometimes upskill people to the next level in their career. And it can result in investments that create new parks, more amenities. And really, the other thing that I think gets left out is it's also what helps create a sense of community in many ways. And so when we talk about the food apartheid issue, I think what we can control is at the local level to some extent. So David mentioned the 11 closures, right? They are national grocery chains. They aren't owned by people that live locally. And when you spend your money there, a lot of the money leaves the community. And it isn't like I could just call up the owner of a store and say, hey, why are you closing? Or why don't you have this thing that I need? Right? There really isn't a way for us to connect and for us to control. But when we talk about small businesses, that changed dramatically. Small businesses, I know the people that own them. I'm able to talk to them about what my needs are. And to a much larger extent, where I spend my money there matters way more than if I go to a local than to a national chain. And so when we talk about one of the many, I mean, this is a complicated issue. So economic development is just one of the ways to address it. But one of the ways that I think we can do that is thinking about ways to grow entrepreneurship locally in a way that also allows for access to healthy food at a reasonable price point. And that's really what my role is here, is trying to find ways to creatively offer more access to food at a local level that grows the economy locally, that supports local ownership. And that's through the program that we have called the Building Bridges program.
Okay, so then let me just fan out for a second, because so this public health emergency is declared. We know there's a resolution in play. So then when we start talking about the direction or the goals, what does that look like as you all are fanning out as a department and an agency? Because I'm going to pull in these pieces about who needs to be at the table.
Right.
But again, 30,000-foot view, what does that look like?
Well, there's a couple of things. I mean, I would say, there's recommendations to the food apartheid resolution and what we've been putting together. I mean, number one is the establishment of a community-led effort to address the food access issue. The first thing that we did with the SNAP cuts impending was identify at least 13 pantries that are in the most impacted zip codes by the SNAP cuts. And even though SNAP benefits were extended, we were able to put out $150,000 to help at least mitigate some of the immediate stuff. And I know we're looking at a second round of that now.
We are, yeah.
So the immediate need is addressed. But the
So
long
wait,
term,
hold up on
sure.
that though, because I couldn't help but smile, our mutual, our people, Keon,
Yeah.
when I remember when he started the work to create his food pantry.
11th and Atkinson
Yeah.
every Wednesday
Yeah,
at noon.
exactly.
And,
Shout out to Brandon
and
Triggs,
he just
Farina
kept saying
Brooks.
it. Yeah, it's a need, Michelle. And I'm
It
like,
is, yeah.
a whole food pantry though?
Yeah.
And then once, and I watched the groundwork, I watched the applications to become a vendor. And that first couple times, when people, because it didn't take long for the word to get out. Because, I'm like, well, how many people going to show up, Keon? So he said, come see.
Mm-hmm.
Because, in fact, I need help. So come unload this, truck. Because at first he was doing it out of his car, his truck. And then now it's a U-Haul truck. Come
Right.
see.
Right.
Yeah.
When I tell you to see all those people in line, it was joy and heartache at the same time.
That's right.
Because to see somebody who saw that need clearly, more clear than I did, and say, okay, I as an individual, what can I do? And then got people to buy in, and everybody, now is keeping it going in his absence. But then to see, and like, it was so many elderly people in line.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, you should not be 75, 79 years old, standing in a food line, Jesus, trying to get something to
Come
eat.
on.
It was crazy
Doesn't
to
matter.
me.
Cold, below zero
Below
temperatures
zero
and all of
temperature.
that,
We did that recently with Dream Team United, Farina Brooks and that team. And the most heartbreaking thing is you don't see it when you're driving through a neighborhood.
Right.
You see it when people come out of the house.
Yeah.
You see it when churches are giving out plates and people are asking for multiple plates. And you better not say they can't have it because everybody needs it, right? And so the same thing with the groceries. And people have needs, but there's such fear of being judged or system interaction, or they're going to ask for too much information. So I just have to call that out. One of the reasons when we moved into the new COGS building that we put the Nourish MKE pantry in there is that we didn't want us moving and building a new building to close a community resource. We wanted to make sure that that was firm.
Mhm.
And so at on 13th and Cherry, Nourish MKE is present. People can use that when they come in for services, and it's an anchor for the residents of the King Park.
So I'm not
neighborhood.
familiar. So that's a food pantry as well.
It's in the Cogs building. It's on
It's the old. It used to be called Freedom's.
Food
Oh
Pantry.
yeah, okay.
And they have two locations. One by 22nd and Mitchell, and then there's the one that's in the Cogs building. And it's not an undignified experience. It's like shopping. You can go in there, you can get what you need, and then we can also assist you with other resources. But there's pantries like that all over. I mean, there's Metcalf Park, obviously, and we're going to talk about the work that they do. They have the community fridges that are opening up across the city. We also have the Jewish Community Pantry. We have the Dawa Center. If you drive past on Villard and Titonia, you see the lines there. You have Dream Team, which is kind of popcorning all over the city where the need is. There's other partners who we were not able to include in this round that we want to make sure are included in the next round. You have, I think, the church on the south side. I forget the name. St. Vincent.
So the partners are important, and it's also the strategy, because I think the strategy is really important, right? So as government folks, like, I don't know if any of us consider ourselves to be, government bureaucrats or whatever.
Community people behind any
community
line.
people. There you go. So like, when we sat down and say, okay, what are these recommendations, right? We met with a lot of people. We met with people in communities. We met with people in their homes. We met with community organizations, with elected officials locally and at the state level, because we didn't want to start from ground zero. We wanted to be able to say, what is already happening? How can we support what's already happening? And then what is our role as government entities? And who are the government partners that we need to bring to the table to make sure that the folks who are on the ground doing the work have the support that they need? So I just want to call that out, because that was a huge effort to be able to do. And then making sure that we had the research so we can say, okay, in this neighborhood, it may look like the grass is cut, but 46% of the people who live here are using or are in need of SNAP benefits. And we saw the February report for jobs. It was abysmal. 93,000 more jobs lost, right? And that's not even accounting for race or anything else, right? So if we know that the economy is not doing good, we're also trying to anticipate what is the growing need that we're going to have to face, considering people who may not have ever had to use SNAP benefits before. That number is going to increase. So we're anticipating that as well.
So wait, let me do this. I'm going to take a quick break.
Mhm.
And then when we come back, we'll pick the conversation up, because I think a lot of people, and I'm paying attention to some of the comments. So a lot of people are then beginning to wonder, like, okay, so where do we go from here? Two people hit my phone. I'm impacted. This is my conversation today. So we'll pick this up on the other side, talk about solutions, talk about the work that's being done. And I think that it is key when you talk about having, a person who is looking to spearhead the economic development side of this whole conversation. Because that's important, how you turn all this around, or at least how we get people through until some of this gets figured out. Let me take a quick break. Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. Family, we'll be right back. All right, family, welcome back to the show. So, for folks that may just be joining us, you've gotten to work, got situated, or got the kids out the door to school, got your cup of coffee, and like, okay, let's hear it. I'm ready now. We are talking with the folks from the Office of Equity with Milwaukee County and having a discussion using some terms that some of us may not always be familiar with. And if you heard Samaya during the first half of the hour, even the way she says the term, because I just say apartheid, you can hear that spin on it when Samaya says, say the word apartheid, Samaya.
Now I'm afraid.
Food
apartheid.
Yeah, no. It was a little bit of something on that is like, oh, okay, world travel over here. But we were talking about food apartheid, racial and health equity. And so before we went to the break, and set up the fact that, a resolution has been introduced. We've talked about this being declared a public health emergency, what those responses need to be, bringing in collaborators and partners, rethinking the way we kind of tackle these problems, if you will. And so before we went to the break, David, you were about to say something. You remember where you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a couple of things to the recommendations from the Declaration of Food Apartheid. Number one, folks have seen these mobile markets that the Hunger Task Force has.
Yes.
When they go to senior centers, just like we were talking about with Keon in the park, the folks line up there too. So thinking about spaces like that, schools, places where families and people impacted are. And third, we were kind of talking about the last four on the break, which was the support for urban agriculture and farm connections. This is a state that still has agribusiness, agriculture, eggs. You have the urban farm movement. You have people with, there's a couple folks with chickens in the yard still, and places where you can buy those products, where we need to uplift that and look at that as an economic development opportunity as well as a health opportunity. And then lastly, the zoning and grocery store closing notification, where these folks just can't just flip the switch and decide we're leaving next week. That there has to be some economic penalties and notifications that go in place.
Because right now I was only familiar with, I thought if there were 50 employees or more, they had to notify the state. Do we have local ordinances?
There's conversations about what a local ordinance would look like,
Okay.
both at the city and county, and the creation of some joint efforts to hold folks accountable who choose to disinvest from Milwaukee. And it's going to need for people to use their positions to flex and be intentional about that.
Say more. Celia, looks like you wanted to say something when he was talking about that.
Yeah, and I just want to add to what David's saying is I think the point of that is really for these larger chains. We're not trying to penalize these local mom and pop stores that are trying to make a go of it. These are people that, as David said really smartly, that are choosing to disinvest in the community.
Well, one of the things that we talked about during the break, and I tell people all the time, sometimes the conversation in the break, I'm like, I hate we didn't say that on the air.
Yeah.
But that, I've paid attention to my own shopping habits, and I can honestly say I haven't had to step foot in a store in months because I literally can order everything from home. And I see Celia's face is just like kind of deflate a little, like, and that's part of the problem. And that's, part of the point too, like the inability to support local businesses. We were on King Drive the other day, and I remember when that collective was right there on the corner, different businesses and these barbershops, these places are vacant now. And I'm like, okay, are we just waiting for, gentrification? Are we waiting for some big sweep to come into the area? Like, what is happening? And then I realized, if I'm just being honest, Michelle, you part of the problem, because in some cases you're not frequenting these stores. You don't go to Sherman Phoenix to get your tea. You order it online. I'm losing that connection. I'm not meeting, new people. I'm not talking to vendors. I'm not supporting. So if I could for just a second, Celia, because I saw your face. You was like a dagger to the heart, Michelle. Talk a little bit on that economic side about how some of this is things that we can think differently about the way we help ourselves.
I mean, you just phrased it so wonderfully. I mean, first of all, being able to get your stuff online, it's a beautiful thing. It's made it convenient for us, and it often is cheaper, right? It is often cheaper to buy online. But what does that mean? that means it's so much harder if you have a brick and mortar or commercial space to make a go of it, because people aren't going to come to your store. And that results in more vacant spaces. When you drive down the street and you see buildings that are empty, they haven't been invested in, it doesn't feel good. And it makes me feel less invested in my community. And unfortunately, that's one of the challenges that we have. But we're also missing that third space a little bit, right? So when I go in and I get my tea, I know the owner and I'm more invested in them, and they're more invested in me as a result. And we know the value of our community. It is a choice to shop locally, and it can be more expensive, but it is one of the ways that we can help kind of, again, cycle that money in the community, keep it local. That benefits all of us. And so one of the things that we want to do is think about creative ways to offer healthy food in these local community stores, people that you know the owners. It is hard though, and it does have to be a conscious choice.
So when you think and you talk about a conscious choice, so you all clearly at the Office of Equity are doing likewise. So from a departmental level, as we are talking about these discussions, how are those things showing up in the work at the county from across departments? Can you speak to that?
Sure. You've heard a couple examples today, but one of the things that we're doing is looking at the overall food economy, right? Like another one of those big words. So we talked about the impacts of e-commerce and just access to more convenient things. Celia talked a little bit about like a volume. So like we're trying to figure out if there's ways to have like co-ops where, like there's some sort of warehouse where small grocers can have access to large amounts of food so that they can that in turn sell it at a price that we can afford at local grocers, right? We've looked at things around livable wages. That's another thing, right? Like it's expensive to run a grocery store. And if I can't pay my staff more than what they could get paid driving DoorDash, it's going to be really hard for me to have employees. So we're looking at all of these different factors that impacts the food economy. And again, looking at strategic partnerships when we're trying to determine what the recommendations are. So the recommendations that Director Muhammad shared were the beginning, right? Because we know that we're not going to be able to solve this in, a month or even by the end of the year. It's going to be ongoing. So just those are some of the things that we're looking at to see how we can move, this work forward. We're also looking at additional like resources, partnership with the state potentially, like if there's grants or if there's ways to get like subsidies, because right now there's subsidies for farmers. But we're looking to see if there's more ways to kind of subsidize some of the smaller grocers that are here to help them with their bottom line. So again, that's why Celia's role is so important. The work that Director Muhammad is doing in DHHS, our office being able to also provide, supports to some of the local entities and community organizations. We're all working together on this.
It's funny that you, when you were talking about like the smaller grocery stores, because one of the things I was just having this conversation, ironically, a couple of days ago, because we saw another local business was struggling. And this one was a restaurant though. But one of the things, I lamented was the fact that frequently, particularly businesses of color, Black folks, if I can drill down even deeper, we are going into buildings and properties that, as far as I'm concerned, like many of them have been repurposed. They didn't start out for, to be a grocery store. They didn't start out to, be a restaurant. And so we get them on, I won't say the cheap, but we get them and are able to get these businesses. But I'm like, the location, because of what it was originally zoned for, it's not set up for traffic. So, you're not getting a ton of foot traffic. You're not getting, I can't park when I try to go to your, so that's the other frustrating part when I hear the economic side of these conversations. Like, even for people that are looking to do things and be solution oriented, like, is there coaching out there for people that say, hey, don't put the business right there? It's not going to do well. Traditionally, nobody's done good in that spot or location. I have seen certain businesses or certain locations, business after business after business. And I'm like, y'all, it will just not work because that was never designed to be a customer friendly building. That was a commercial space, so deliveries in and out, or can you speak to that? Am I off on that?
No,
Celia?
you're not off, but I do want to speak to how, I mean, first of all, it is really hard to be an entrepreneur. And let's think about what it means to be an entrepreneur with a brick and mortar space. So you need to know your business and what you want to do. But then you also need to develop this level of acumen. So you need to learn accounting for the first time, for example. You need to figure out marketing for the first time. And then you add, okay, now I need to find a space for my business. Do I want to rent? Do I own? There are, for as much as you drive around and you're like, why doesn't somebody locate there? A lot of times they're just not available. So there's a limited portfolio of options available for an entrepreneur. And sometimes they just get desperate. They're like, I just need to get open. The people will come, right? They tend to not be patient, generally speaking. And so what happens is they find a place in it. They maybe don't have the time or the bandwidth to do the market research to figure out whether or not they're going to be successful because they believe in themselves as they should. The positive, though, is we have a wealth of resources around the county for people to help get you set up for success, to help understand that business acumen, know your customer base, right? That's critical. Know if they will come, know if it's the right location based on what they need. We have people that will help with financing. And one of the things that we're getting into is how can we help you understand your space and whether or not it's going to be a good option for you. And that goes not just from customer space, but zoning code wise. Are you going to be able to build out the space for what you need? Is it going to be financially viable for you? If you're a restaurant, is the hood going to go there? Is code going to allow that? Is that within your price point? How's that going to impact your overhead costs? Like all of these things are things that we can help kind of problem solve. It just takes an entrepreneur understanding and having the patience and the drive to find their right team that they can trust to build out and make smart decisions. But even though there is a lot out there, it can be really complicated. So I know you want to jump in. I just want to end by saying one of the things I'm really proud of that we're doing is for the first time ever, we have now like the front door to entrepreneurship. Before you do a Google search, there's some websites that help you find the wealth of resources, but it can be hard to find your people, right? And so now you can call somebody on my team named Lisa Sullivan. She's our small business liaison. You can call her. You can email her with your question, and she will be a single point of contact for you throughout your business to help you navigate the resources you need with where you are in your business cycle right now.
And I know my face looked like, I want to jump in. And it's because I'm so happy. Oh my God. Like the number of people, I'm sitting like, you can get this at the county? This information, there are people doing this?
Surprise, government does do good stuff.
Come on. Yeah. So that was what it was. I'm just excited because it's so many people that want to be a part of the solution and they have great ideas. And if they could just get the right start, the right, kickoff to their organization that, potentially they thrive, the community thrives. Some of these blighted properties look different. We did have a caller. Are they still there, Jermaine? Let's get them in real quick. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Mr. Rideout. Good morning, Debo. Good morning, Milwaukee. Good morning to everyone in the studio. Thank you for coming. Tyrone W. speaking, a.k.a. Rafiq Muhammad Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, and Ramadan Mubarak to all.
Ramadan Kareem.
Yes, absolutely, indeed. Inshallah. Couple different things. I know years ago I was on the food stamp program, and I had to work for mine right off 35th Street, just right down the street from formerly A.O. Smith there. About 2 blocks, a long block, but a couple blocks away from A.O. Smith there. Worked on a couple different things there, a couple different products. And basically, I just wanted to ask a couple of things, and I'll listen to you over the air and them. The companies that are getting their products done, are they, eventually making hires? I mean, similar to a Manpower or Flexiforce or, Labor Ready, something like that, where you're actually recommended, well, if you do good work, well, I'll recommend that, these people hire you or something. So I didn't see any of that, but they were getting their products done, quite a few products. I won't name any products, quite a few products. But are they, of course, they're making money on the back end because they're selling the products. But are they looking to hire any of these people that are working on these products? And then on the back end of that, then you're the Office of Equity. I know Mr. Khalif Rainey had came in. Are you growing in leaps and bounds? And then tell us how the growth is going. And then are you actually seeing the vision and the the mission that Mr. Khalif Rainey had for the African American Affairs Office? Change of name, it's only words, but it's the mission and the vision being completed that Mr. Rainey had set forth. Thank you very much, then, and peace and blessing. I'll listen to you over the air. Thank you.
First of all, I just want to say I'm so glad that the two of you in particular are here, because frequently when Tyrone W. calls, he makes the references, and he'll get the call and response because I don't know what to say. I'm like, hey, bro, wrong room.
Yeah, so for the listeners,
we have to be very fulfilling.
Hilarious.
To have the listeners be able to hear. Oh no, it's something that's supposed to get said.
Yeah. So we said Ramadan Mubarak to him, which Mubarak is like blessed. So we're just saying like have a it's like a response.
Yeah.
Ramadan Kareem, a bountiful Ramadan.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. I was like, thank you. Okay. So to his question about is the department living up to the vision? Somebody, I'll shoot that your way.
Ooh, I love that question. So I would hope to be able to say yes. So we are excited about this sort of work. And one of the things that I really wanted to lift up is the importance of looking at, yes, health equity. But also like making sure that when we're looking at health equity, we're focusing on economic well-being of people. So we have a lot of initiatives to support economic well-being, which is why food apartheid work is so important. So for example, we were able to get, I know this is like my thing. I'm excited.
The food apartheid.
Okay.
You say
time. And so like, for example, we were able to get some outside funding from the Cities for Financial Empowerment Fund to develop an economic development blueprint for Milwaukee County. Within that, it is inclusive of like support for small business owners, looking at financial education and readiness for community members, but looking at policies that have prevented certain groups in this community, including Black people, primarily Black people, policies that prevented them from being able to attain wealth or preserve wealth, right? So those things are important. Some of the things that we have coming up, we have a sustainability summit coming up on May 5th. I don't mean sustainability in terms of the environment, even though environmental justice is important. What I mean by sustainability is there's a lot of folks who maybe through ARPA or CARES dollars or through other resources, partnerships with the county, they maybe had gotten one-time funding, or maybe they had funding from other efforts. But a lot of that money is changing because the political landscape is changing, right? When a lot of things are just not available. So on May 5th, we're working with 60 organizations only. That's all we have room for, to be able to help them come up with their plans. So despite all of the changes, despite all of the topsy-turvy that we're experiencing, people have information and they can walk away with the plan to see how they can stay afloat. Go ahead.
Let me do this, because I don't want this question to be lost. And I think we got the right people in the room to help answer it. It piggybacks off of the question that came from the caller. But early on, when we would have the Office of Equity in, because still this is the building phases. People still trying to figure out, do we look inward first? Do we look outward? Do we do both at the same time?
Yes.
And so people began to feel like we got a lot of promises and pie in the sky. So the text messages just came through that said, could you just briefly take a moment and speak to actual measurables? So we can say we moved the needle here, or we got, a bump in this, or we've reduced that. Are those kinds of dynamics out? And I know frequently we would get sent to the dashboard that had been created at one time, but we don't know. So
yeah,
I didn't want to ignore this question.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. So like some of the things in terms of like the metrics, as you mentioned, when the office was established, the goal really was to look internally, right? Like, how are we addressing like Milwaukee County and making sure that our hiring practices are better? Like, we've seen much improved hiring practices in terms of diversity. If you look at a place even like DHHS, contracting, we've improved that significantly. The people who work on behalf of Milwaukee County and go out to do like home visiting or, different programs like that actually reflect the communities in terms of like race and age and all those dynamics. They actually reflect the community that we're working in, which was one of the things that we were looking at. We've been able to, another program, I can talk to some of the work that David has done because we're looking through this lens, right? The Office of Equity is designed to make sure that every other department in Milwaukee County has the lens and the tools and the resources that they need to move the needle in the community. So when you look at something like the Credible Messengers program that, David, spearheaded in Milwaukee County, he's been able to have significant reduction in the number of young people. About 78% of those young people don't return to crime or violent behavior. If you look at the housing policies, if you look at the way we've invested in mental health resources, all of these things have provided positive impacts in community. We just released our 2025 report that has all these numbers. So within that, you can say we invested $200 and some $1,000 in this. And as a result of that, maybe 200 young people, are better off as a result of. So that's available on our website. So I invite people to take a look at that. And then you could see, okay, in terms of youth development, supporting older adult, all these things, what are some of the outcomes that we've been able to achieve? But there's a lot.
What's the name of the report? So I can.
It is like our most recent equity compass, and we did a year in review. So that's available for folks to have some of those specific outcomes that we've been able to work towards, and the work is not finished.
So let me do this because we're up against the clock. Back to where we started. What can listeners do if someone is either experiencing food insecurity, hunger, just to be real plain about it? Because I don't want to not answer that question.
I'll shout out Quinn Taylor and the folks at the Department of Community Wellness and Safety. He just shot me a text. And I do have to speak up the work that's happening on 32nd and Brown with the missing piece. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., they do a food giveaway every Tuesday and Thursday. The Dream Team United and the missing piece on 32nd and Brown. You have Kinship in the River West neighborhood. They have their own farm that they actually help provide some of the produce that you have at Thrive On. You have Nourish MKE, which is on 13th and Cherry at the Cogs building, as well as 22nd and Mitchell. You have St. Vincent de Paul. Shout out to Peggy West, who runs that pantry on the south side. You have
so is this stuff centrally listed somewhere?
We have listings on this. I didn't want to lead by saying call 211 because I know the community can cringe sometimes with that. But you can call 211 and they'll give you these listings. But I'm shouting these folks out specifically. Pastor Tipton on, I think, Mill Road and El Bethel Church of God in Christ, Good Hope. They have a pantry there. I was blessed to visit with him and tour his location. It's like what we were saying, 11th and Atkinson on Wednesdays and Brandon Triggs and that work. The need is out there and there are places out there doing it. But we want people to at least get connected. Come to Nourish MKE, 13th and Cherry, and there's more resources available there in addition to what we provide with Health and Human Services.
You got a caller? Let's try and sneak them in real quick. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Yes. Hello?
Yes, hello.
Yes, I have a question for the panel. I heard you talk about the Trusted Messenger program. I think also the listening audience and myself would like to know just what that entails. Is that setting young people up for law enforcement, or what does the Trusted Messenger program entail? Would you please enlighten us?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll say this. There's 6 agencies that work, and it is not law enforcement involved at all. It is people with lived experience, many of whom are formerly incarcerated, who have had experience with either gun violence, former incarceration, and made a transformation in their life. And we have For One for Life. We have the Milwaukee Community Crossroads, formerly the Christian Center, West Care, Wisconsin, the Youth Advocate Program, Running Rebels. All of these are teams that work with young people. Last year, we served over 199 young people. They're identified based upon involvement with auto theft or gun violence, or they're in the peer group of those young people. And we do not want them to go deeper into the criminal legal system. So we work by providing resources for them, their families, pro-social life skills classes, exposure to arts and culture, as well as responsible, caring adults from all walks of life, including those in the community who want to see gun violence stop. So we've been doing that since 2021. It has had an impact. We have some of the lowest numbers in our youth detention facility that we've had since pre-pandemic. And we are seeing decreases in group-based, or what they call gang violence, in Milwaukee. We got to do something about these grown folks right now, though. So that's what we're looking at.
Could you start across the way right here? If you could just start right here with this thing sitting on the other side.
Sure. With them binoculars the wrong way.
Crazy. Oh my God, he is so touched. All right, well, look, that's our time for this. We got one more caller. Man, you really working today. Okay. Caller, please make it quick because we're up against the clock.
Just want to hear some resources to help with housing and mental health. As I sit on the bench, I'd love to be able to know where a list is and how to get better help for people. I'll listen.
All right.
Thank you, Judge Taylor.
Thank you. And we couldn't have this. I'm glad she called, because we couldn't have this conversation without her.
Nope.
She's been pushing agriculture for the longest, knowing that it was an economic engine, and people were acting like they were asleep at the wheel.
Right.
Mhm.
And here we are. But I would say, in terms of resources, look for DHHS online. Go to our website. Housing, behavioral health. Of course, folks can always call 414-257-7222. And then, of course, people can call 211, or they can just call DHHS directly. And for those who know me in the community, I do not mind people sharing my phone number. I'm not going to say it on air, but we can make things happen. Don't hesitate to reach out. We are public servants.
I'm gonna put it on a billboard right outside the station, y'all. Let me do this. Let me thank the team for coming in this morning. Samaya, Celia, David, and I know I need to do those titles. I do believe in putting respect on it, but it feels more like family up in here, and the information that you shared is gonna help a lot of family, and families and listeners. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. You gotta come back. Because I'm looking at Celia, because you made me smile.
Look at this team I get to be.
Hey, we do have our own dream team. Now, if I can just find out about MPS, but that's another conversation. So, all right, y'all, that is the show for this morning. David know I was gonna come for him. This is Michelle Bryant here, WNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM. I appreciate everybody that made the show go today. Callers, good questions. Thank you. For the folks that hit us up online, I'll go back and look at your questions, and I'll get them answered if we can. To the team, appreciate you, bros. Jermaine.
That is my name.
They got services for you.
I can see clearly.
That is the show for today. I will talk to you all tomorrow. So sad.
I can see all options.